For the past month, I have been relentlessly grinding out Wizard101 on a balanced character. Not just any balanced character, but one that was 100% free to play and on a brand new account. I had challenged myself to speedrun Wizard101, but not in the traditional sense. I was going to speedrun Wizard101 while 100% completing each and every single world before I was able to move on to the next one. No crowns gear, no insane pets. Everything I did on this wizard, I earned and I grinded for. Today's episode of the challenge is going to answer the one question I had when I originally started this run. The one question that would end up taking hours upon hours to solve. How long does it take to beat Wizard101 as a solo character and as a balance? If you have never played Wizard101 before or are new to the genre of MMOs, you get to choose your class or school in this game's case, which largely determines your overall stats, playstyle, role, and generally how you play the game. Much like other MMOs, in Wizard101 you have your tank class, your glass cannon class, your support class, some hybrids of everything of that, and that makes this game unique. What made this run even more unique was that Balance, as a school, is widely regarded to be the weakest solo class in the entire game. Why, you may ask? Balance, as the name suggests, is the jack-of-all-trades class. They're really good at supporting other classes, given they have universal blade and trap cards, which basically buff up everyone else's damage, and overall their survivability, health, damage, are pretty well rounded. If you know anything about the jack of all trades trope, however, you'd know that they are, like the saying goes, a master of nothing. In a sense, they struggle at defining any one particular trait and excelling at it. So where Storm excels with high damage, where Life excels with heals, Balance is kind of a lot of the same, but then not really good at anything in return. I took on the challenge to see how fast I could complete Wizard101 while having minimal deaths and, as I mentioned, being entirely F2P, or free to play. If this is the first video of the series you are watching, feel free to pause now and go back and watch the series from the start. I have created a playlist that will pop up on the screen at this point to help guide you there, so you don't even need to click out of this video. Go and watch those videos first and then come back to this one because it will be much needed context and of course a prelude as to how we got to the finale today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video in advance. Without further ado, let's get into the finale of Wizard101's Arc 1. The quest to Dragonspyre actually starts with you talking to Professor Drake in the Myth classroom, where he tells you that he wants to test your skills a little bit to make sure you're able to fight Malistaire. Because if you can't defeat him in a fight, obviously you couldn't kill his much stronger, much more powerful brother, right? All jokes aside, your initial fight with Professor Drake is actually a pretty good barometer as to how the bosses will look like in Dragonspyre, as he has 4,000 HP, and it's not that easy of a fight, to be honest. After defeating Professor Drake in his tower, you meet him in the Basilica, which is basically the commons area of Dragonspyre, and he tells you that he can help you no further because if he were to step closer into Dragonspyre, that his brother, Malistaire, would surely sense his presence. Professor Drake does end up informing you, however, that most of the gates and portals of which to travel around Dragonspyre have been closed or are otherwise shut off. You end up venturing into the Athenaeum, and you get into contact with Milos Bookworm, who is now a ghost but was the librarian of this place here. Some of the history of Dragonspyre are housed within these crystal knowledge stands, and you use these frequently throughout the world of Dragonspyre. Consuming the knowledge from the crystal, you learn that the portal stones are used to facilitate travel throughout Dragonspyre. They were originally used as a defense mechanism, but quickly became just a norm throughout Dragonspyre. The librarian then urges you to search the tower archives, as somebody who used to live there housed a lot of the old portal stones. The tower archives hold a very special place in my heart, because if you look who we have to talk to, that's me. That's me. Yeah, my channel is named after this extremely insignificant character in Wizard101. He's cool though. I like him. I like Mr. Zarathaxx. So. Yep, wait, where is he? This is me, guys. This is my, banner right here. And Lucy Hollow is also here. This is my banner, this dude right here. So while you don't find anyone on the street who immediately has a portal stone, you meet up with this dragon named Zarathaxx, who claims to has everything he needs to give you one of them after you help him power up these crystals that are around the map. I don't know how you as the wizard don't notice it, but this guy keeps giving you very sus signs, such as literally telling you that you are all powerful and that he is helpless without you. After proving for a second world in a row now that we are in fact a true crystal girly, they all converge to this one tower in the center where Zarathaxx eagerly awaits you inside.
Stupid wizard. Should have listened to your best judgment after all. I'll remember you when I sit on the throne of Dragonspyre.
Defeating Zarathaxx, this random ghost appears in the corner of the room who informs you that he is the guy that ended up building the entire tower and the defense system with it, and offers little to no useful information besides the fact that if you want a portal stone, obviously you shouldn't have come to him and instead of went to the Stonekeeper. Reporting back to the librarian, you are then tasked to go to the Plaza of Conquests, which is the Stonekeeper's last known location before the Titan army had attacked. You then go to meet up with the Portal Keeper, who initially is very suspicious of you as the wizard. You see, his entire job is to keep the portal stones out of the hands of the enemies, so he tells you if you want to get a portal stone, you have to prove to him rather than just tell him that you want one. The literal entire plot of the Plaza of Conquest is that you go around from literally boss to boss, defeating everyone you possibly can, like massacring the entire population here, just to prove to this one dude that you are in fact worthy of getting a portal stone. Probably the most memorable, or I guess infamous is the proper term to describe this fight. There are two separate fights where you fight these people that have these little like power wisps kind of things with them, and the first one they just spam shields, and the second one they spam traps on you. Well, lucky for us, we're a balance wizard, so they didn't have any shields for us, but it was still annoying nonetheless, and took up a lot of unnecessary time just going from boss to boss to boss. After you defeat this Kraken from Triton Avenue looking dude, once again to prove that you are worthy, you go back to this guy and he finally at this point gives you your portal stone. Is what I would be saying if this guy actually had a fucking portal stone to begin with. Yeah, it is not until you defeat 5 separate bosses across 13 quests does this guy politely inform you that the final portal stone is locked in a vault at the bottom of the Grand Chasm. If you were really paying attention to my wizard's gear here, one of the good things that actually came out of this quest tree in this area was that I actually leveled up to level 50. Which if you remember from the last episode, I was really hyping up this milestone for us as far as power level goes. Instead of showing you the entire 20 minutes I spent trying to purchase everything, I'll just show you some of the highlights of some of the gear I purchased. For hats, I purchased Krasus's Hat of the Hidden. While the stats ended up looking good, I didn't actually purchase the Malistaire robe considering the lack of power pip or health the robe offered. My boots became Snow Crusher's Tension Walkers, and then the Gurtok Ring and Athame both, which gave me an insane amount of damage and power pip. This was taken from the intro of my last video, but my stats ended up going from this, which was really horrible, almost no accuracy, no damage, no resist, anything like that, to this. Yeah, with just a few bizarre gear purchases, we over doubled our damage, triple our resist, and finally gained some much needed accuracy that we had been begging for all this time. Since we were level 50, I also took this time to teleport my balanced character into Celestia, which literally anyone can do. You ask someone to TP you there, or the much easier strategy is to go to the Housing Gauntlets and go to the Astral Magic Professor in the Arcanum. But to not make it too long-winded, I ended up going to the Astral School Trainer and training Strong, which is the first enchant they offer you at level 50. While we didn't end up getting any critical chance with this gear, we, as I just said, more than doubled almost every single one of our stats. So I was super happy about this, and going forward with anything that we did in Dragonspyre, there was literally nothing that stopped us. We had enough damage to consistently kill mobs, even if they had put a weakness on me. I was starting to do over 1,000 damage with my 7-pip AoE, and we were noticing a lot less fizzles, and of course that nice resist was always going to come in handy. With all of that upgrading out of the way, I'd logged off to take a little bit of a break because I didn't want to quite burn myself out just yet, because Dragonspyre is kind of a lengthy world, and I didn't want to just sit there and like keep questing and questing and questing, so I took a little bit of a break and came back later to record once again the same day. Following the advice of the Stonekeeper, we returned to the librarian in the Athenaeum to tell him we need to head to the Grand Chasm in order to get our portal stone. After warning us of the dangers of the Grand Chasm, he gives us a point of contact, Belia Windgazer, to find within the chasm. Belia ends up being the chief vault clerk and informs us that the portal stone was locked in the lowermost vault before the Titans attacked. Following the advice of Belia, we meet up with Edric Scatterglow, who is supposed to help us but ends up being so involved in his own research that he tells us if we want his help, that we have to help him out with his research first. Basically, this guy had discovered these crystals that had some like time magic with them, and he was basically researching if he was able to go back in time with them. This leads to honestly one of the coolest quests in the entire game, in my opinion. You enter this vault and insert the charged crystals into these mechanism, and you are able to go back in time, and you help out this guy seal all of the vaults before the Dragon Titan's army is able to attack. You go around helping this guy repair some bridges and of course seal the vaults, and the end of this dungeon is that you have to fight General Firetusk, who is here from the Dragon Titan army, and he needs your help defeating him. After successfully defeating Firetusk, this guy notices that you aren't quite from Dragonspyre and urges you to take the vault key for safekeeping. This vault key is in fact the exact same one that you need that houses the portal stone that you needed all along. If you pay attention, the vault that you need to enter is the one that Vaesic Ashweaver, the dude you helped from the past, was waiting outside of when you finished the quest. Upon entering the vault, indeed Ashweaver is awaiting for you inside and doesn't instantly recognize you, and you have to defeat him in combat. Only after his defeat does he end up recognizing you and hands over the portal stone that you had needed this entire time. With the portal stone in hand, you head back to the portal keeper, where you then have to charge your new portal stone, and then you are allowed access into the Necropolis, which is the next area of Dragonspyre. After obtaining access to the Necropolis, you meet back with Professor Drake, who informs you of his master plan to help get Malistaire. To tell the story as it is, Malistaire Drake took his dead wife Sylvia Drake and put her remains inside of a tomb in the Necropolis. Cyrus Drake wants to take Sylvia's remains and store them inside of a knowledge crystal to use against Malistaire when they meet. It is at this point where you really start to notice the monotony of Dragonspyre and why I think it leaves a bad taste in the mouths of a lot of players. Dragonspyre isn't that long per se. It is kind of difficult, with a lot of bosses having in the 4, 5, and even 6,000s of HP, but what really extends the length of this world is the fact that there are a lot of these tower-like dungeons where you enter, have to defeat mobs for about 5 separate floors, and only then are you able to reach the top where your objective actually is. What makes it worse is that most of these tower dungeons have these filler floors where they give you health and mana wisps because they know that they made it a little bit too long. I think it's kind of funny. Anyways, when you reach the top of this dungeon, you realize that Malistaire and all of his insanity turned his dead wife into a wraith, which is actually insane, and it is only upon defeating her that you are able to reclaim her soul in this crystal. Upon her defeat, she does turn back into her normal human form, so that's at least a positive of this dungeon. You report back to Cyrus Drake, where he informs you of part 2 of the plan in Dragonspyre. You see, to get to the innermost ring of Dragonspyre, where Malistaire currently is, you need to become a student of Dragonspyre Academy. That is the only way that the portal will open to you and allow you into the inner ring. Cyrus tasks you to find some way to become a student of Dragonspyre and offers for you to treat it as a foreign student exchange moment. You meet up with the Crystal Guide in the Necropolis, who is basically like college admissions, and tells you that if you want to become a student, you need to first learn about drakes. The entire part of the first part of the Drake Hatchery, and I say first part because you end up coming back here eventually, but there is literally only one quest where you have to defeat a mob, but otherwise you are going back and forth, talking to the same guy over and over, who is a dragon rider and wants to meet with his favorite dragon again because they're both dead, but there's just a bunch of dialogue in here, and it really is kind of meaningless and pointless in the end. You eventually return to the Crystal Guide after learning about the Drakes, and she tells you that now you need a history lesson of Dragonspyre. Because this is Dragonspyre Academy and not any regular school, your history lesson is to take these crystals and defeat some of the legends of Dragonspyre history. Some of these crystals, of course, are not in the shelf, but they were stolen by people who I guess went to steal crystals, and you have to go up into those really long towers that I mentioned earlier, defeat a boss, store their essence or their life form inside of a crystal, and then you are able to fight them. All of these fights eventually lead you to defeating Boris Blackrock, who is supposed to be the alleged champion of Dragonspyre's defense, the toughest dude you've ever fought in your life, and he turns out to be a giant pushover. After passing Dragonspyre history with a very clear A, your next task is to find the Dean of Students, who is able to admit you into the academy and make you a student. You meet up with his secretary, who tells you, "Oh, I haven't seen him in a while. I really hope he's okay." Haha. You meet up with the ghost librarian in the Athenaeum again, where he literally tells you that, "Sorry, bud, you came at a wrong time. You see, the Dean of Admissions was directly involved with summoning the Dragon Titan that literally destroyed all of Dragonspyre. So if you've ever wondered why the people we've encountered have been ghosts, yeah, that dude helped summon the dragon that murdered everyone in Dragonspyre. So if you want to go see him, he's currently locked up in a labyrinth and basically like a maximum security penitentiary type beat." If you know nothing about Wizard101's Labyrinth dungeon and just how infamous it truly is, this is the tooltip they give you for how long the dungeon is supposed to take. The entirety of the Labyrinth dungeon is boss after boss after boss after boss, and you go around collecting items for the Dean of Students to help him regain his power. You have your suspicions about him doing this, but the game just tells you, "Oh well, ignore it. He can't do anything that bad, can he?" Eventually, after returning all of the Dean's belongings, including his staff, a cloak, other magical items to make him more powerful, he turns on you, and you have to fight him. In an epic duel to the Showdown, when you eventually come out triumphant, among his possessions you do find the Dragonspyre Academy Portal Stone. The start of Dragonspyre Academy has you speaking to the fire tree, Ashley, in order to help get a Dragon Rider's staff. You need this staff because the end goal is for you to hatch a Drake and fly up to the headmaster's office where Malistaire currently is stationing himself. This quest I think is an all-time fan favorite among people who play Wizard101 because it has you going back throughout the spiral to the worlds you had just been through, so Mushu, Marleybone, Crocotopia, and Wizard City, finding these obsidian chests that house the pieces of the Dragon Rider's staff. This quest honestly used to be a lot more annoying. There were double the amount of chests, and one of them was in the Labyrinth dungeon that you just came from, so you would normally have to go through and defeat that all over again. But they ended up changing this quest, and it is now a lot more simpler and in much more convenient places in the spiral. And that quest is just about all the nice things I get to say about the rest of Dragonspyre. Your next place to go to is the Crystal Grove because you need a crystal to insert into the Dragon Rider's staff, and there's only like a certain type of crystal that you can put in there. And of course, you're not going to find it easily. You have to go through like 8 different instance quests, go back and forth between these 2 crystal groves, fight a bunch of bosses. It's really tedious.
You remove a sample of crystal. You remove a sample of crystal. You remove a sample of crystal.
I sure do. I love removing samples of crystals. I love being a crystal girly.
You remove a sample of crystal.
You're so right, I do. Once you finally find a suitable crystal, you take the pieces of the Dragon Rider's staff with the new crystal back to Ashley, who tells you to use the forge within the remaining fire school in order to forge your Dragon Rider staff. Now, the game is very generous here and gives you your very own Dragon Rider staff that your character equips. However, it is so much worse than the Sky Iron Hosta that you get from Aquila. Don't use this staff if you've done Aquila already. It is not worth it. You then have to go back to the Drake Hatchery and, well, hatch a Drake that you're able to use to fly up to Malistaire. Eventually do acquire a Drake egg and are able to hatch it, but you need to head into the Forum, which is the next area in Dragonspyre, to learn how to take care of your dragon and also to forge it a suit of armor. You learn about essential dragon care through these knowledge crystals in the Forum, but of course not all of them are there, and one of them was randomly stolen by this other dragon dude that you have to defeat and get it back. Once you have the proper knowledge of dragon care, you have to defeat these fire spiders for their ember cores and these dragons for their scales to help you forge your suit of armor for your own dragon. Once you have your suit of armor for your dragon, you report back to Ashley, who informs you that your Drake is now hatched and ready to take you up to Malistaire, where you will be able to face off against him. You enter Malistaire's lair and fend off a few erroneous minions he has placed before him, and then it is finally time to have your showdown against Malistaire Drake. Ugh, there he is. We've made it. We did it, Joe.
Malistaire, this is Cyrus, your brother. Stop this madness at once. The Dragon Titan will no more serve you than he did the Lords of Dragonspyre. Sylvia, your wife, she's gone. There is no power in the spiral that can bring her back. Certainly not this.
Tell that to Darkmoor, Malistaire.
My brother, Cyrus. You have apparently lost your faith in my abilities. How unfortunate. And how blind of you.
Oh my god.
The Lords of Dragonspyre lacked the will to command the Dragon Titan. I am far stronger than they were. I am the Master of Death! The Dragon Titan will do as I command. I will order it to return my wife Sylvia to life so that she might rule at my side.
Might is crazy. She might rule at my side?
Cyrus holds up the knowledge crystal, storing
Cyrus.
Sylvia Drake's memories.
I can see that in your madness there is no listening to reason. But perhaps you will listen to the sound of your own heart.
Malistaire, please. It's me, Sylvia. Listen to me. You must stop this madness. The man I loved would never risk the lives of so many for his own desire.
Whoever voiced Sylvia. 10 out of 10.
I love you. Please release me. Be happy and move on.
I expected better of you, brother. You thought you could trick me with a mere illusion?
No.
You'll pay for evoking my beloved Sylvia.
Oh. Oh. Oh, there they go.
Now for my great work, the summoning of the Dragon Titan.
Let's see it.
Stand aside, young wizard. You cannot hope to stop me.
Wizard. Malistaire Drake. Rake 10 boss. Oh. Hello, Dragon Titan. And some soul servers. Alright, let's potion before anything else. My strategy going into this is going to be max spirit shields, like 3 heals, a Mander minion, a reshuff, and then I'm going to do a Judgment and a Hydra. So that's 3 damage spells, and then I'm gonna have 1 of these, and that's all in there. My goal and hope is that I pull my Power Nova like instantly. I want to Blade Power Nova, and then we can deal with Malistaire afterwards. Sure, let's put that in there. Okay. So I think this should be fine. If worst comes to worst, I have my reshuffle. But I want to Blade, Power Nova, get rid of all the minions, and it's just me versus Malistaire. And then actually going to put some LA shields because I think he does know Storm as well. And I'm going to save up pips for a Judgment with like everything on it. And then I can Hydra afterwards if I need to. And if those don't kill, I always have a reshuffle. I think that should be good. Oh, there's not really anything else I want to put in. So yeah, level 56. These are what the stats are looking like pre-Malistaire. You know, this is what the past month has been leading up to. So, I mean, I won't delay it any further. It's time to fight Malistaire Drake. Let's do a good luck flip. And I go second. Kind of foresaw that coming. 8,000 HP on him. I don't need you right now. I kind of don't want to discard any of these. I'm gonna LA shield. I know they're death and they're gonna cast other things on me, but just in case, I think Malistaire does know Kraken, so I'm trying to be like proactive here. But I definitely want to get rid of the Soul Servants as soon as possible. I probably should have put in like 2 Power Novas, just like I pull it, like better, like more efficient. But I didn't want to crowd my deck a little bit too much, and there's already a lot happening in this current deck setup with like very little room for me to discard things. So yeah. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Okay. So we're gonna get these shields out of the way. And I need to pull a balance blade or my bubble, my balance damage bubble. And then, or does a base one just kill it? Because I have what, like 68 damage? So as long as I don't get weaknessed, which I don't know if they know weakness or not, but as long as I don't get weaknessed, I think a base Power Nova would kill them. I want to say it will. Because they have, what, 880 HP? And my Power Nova does 665 plus, like, 60% damage. So, I want to go out on a whim and say it does. 665, 890. I think I'm confident in that. Like, as long as none of them weakness me here, I can guarantee that that Power Nova will, by base, kill these guys. Because I need them out of here. Like, I can deal a one-on-one with 8,000 HP Malistaire Drake. But... okay. They left some traps for Malistaire, but... please do a 890 damage. Please. Yes! Yes! Okay. This should be smooth sailing from here, because 2,700 HP and a one-on-one against the boss with no cheats. Okay, Malistaire Drake doesn't have any... this Malistaire Drake doesn't have any Animus. That's fine. But we're gonna start shield spamming. He has 5 pips. This guy gets power pips galore. I think he does know Wraith as well. So, like, by virtue, he knows Skeletal Pirate then, too. Okay. So, I don't think he can kill us by this point, because we still have max Spirit Shields in our deck, and we're Elemental Shielded as well. So, any new pips now, yeah, I'm going to use on Feint here. Just because we're shielded as well. I'm going to discard one of my Availing Hands, or Helping Hands. So I don't think I need 2 at the moment. I'm going to shield again. Dark Sprite? The final boss of Arc 1. And you're going to be Dark Spriting me for 65 damage. If that don't sum up all of your efforts in Wizard101, I don't know what does. Okay. I was hoping to pull my other Feint there. Because this hand's looking kind of doo-doo cheeks, not gonna lie, but... hopefully he uses some big pips here. Okay, yeah, he used all of his pips. So that's great. 188. Okay, and then I need to pull my other Feint here. And then... because I always want to Feint while I'm shielded. There we go. I want to Feint while I'm shielded. So that way he can't, like... sneak in a lot of damage against me here. And this is the last Feint I'll be doing, so I don't gotta worry about any more of those. And then I'm gonna bubble here, because I don't think he knows bubble to, like, counteract it. And I should pull my judge here. Not that I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna... I guess Elemental Blade. I knew he knew this. I knew he knew this. Shabadalia. At least we're shielded. I mean, it still does 300 damage to me, but he's out of pips again. So... and again, these are all just preliminary in case my Judgment doesn't kill. Do I have a Death Shield? I don't have a Death Shield, but he has 2 pips, so... I think we're fine. Yeah, he's just gonna Dark Sprite me. Because the final boss of Dragonspyre in Arc 1 is gonna Dark Sprite me for 84 damage. Alright, so we're all bladed up. that's a spare feint I have, which is honestly kind of huge. Gonna shield again. Hex him. Have Wiz Hex with him. Okay, he fizzles. That's great. Okay, so a Hex, double feint, an aura, and a balance blade, and a max pip judge. Does it kill? 6,800? I think it does. 14 pip judgment, plus 2 feints, and a bubble, and a Hex, and a balance blade. And he dark sprites me to finish me off here. Ouch, 28 damage. Ow. I think we did it, chat. Chat. Did he do what, 6,800?
I failed you, Sylvia. All I wanted was to free you from death. I've done so much to help bring you back.
Oh, Malistaire, I'm in a better place. Come to me. Rest now, my love. You can rest now.
You've done it. Close the cover on this unfortunate chapter. It is unfortunate that you were drawn into such a dangerous battle, but you showed courage and ingenuity beyond anything I could have imagined. I have lost my brother, though the true Malistaire was gone long ago. I will return us both to Headmaster Ambrose's office now. I've opened a portal leading there. I suggest you use it.
Up to the end, still a C word. Anyways. Spellements galore. I got ice shoes. That's cool if I ever start an ice wizard. That's so... oh my god. oh my god, we did it solo. We did Arc 1 solo as a balance. Holy Spellement. Pause. Wait, hold the phone. Why is that so many? I think I got a robe, too. Malistaire's Dragonfire suit. Okay, I got the Fire Malistaire robe, which gives no HP. And then Ice shoes, which give a lot of HP. But nothing for my school. Because why would it? Let's go back to Ambrose's office. Aww. Alright, Ambrose. Aw, and Cyrus is here.
Bravo, bravo, young wizard. Because you stopped Malistaire, you've saved every world upon the spiral.
All of them? Even the ones we're about to go to?
The headmaster looks at you with a twinkle in his eyes.
I remember when you first enrolled at Ravenwood.
Me too.
I thought I saw something special in you.
Yeah, in 1 month I was able to save the spiral.
I apologize for the actions of my brother Malistaire. With your help, I have released Sylvia's spirit and have done my best to set things right.
Your best? What did you do, brother?
And I admit that I should have trusted your instincts about the young wizard, Ambrose. Though off to a rough start, the wizard has become a truly remarkable student.
Off to a rough start. True, I did die the most in like Wizard City in my challenge here.
Ah, indeed. Now, how about heading back to our classes? I'm certain we can all use a break from adventure.
Savior of the Spiral. Defeat Malistaire. As is the company standard, what you're seeing behind me right now is me doing the final side quest of Dragonspyre, and I saved it for the Lore Master, and I ended up just using Team Up because it was just going to speed it up a lot more. And it's a function that everyone can do. So I'm defeating the Lore Master here, and as you can see on the screen now, I have gotten the 100% completionist badge for Dragonspyre. And with that, we come to a close to the Arc 1 chapter of Wizard101 on our solo balanced character. I cannot stress this enough how excitingly fun this was, how different it was for me. Normally, I'm just so quick to, if I want to start a new wizard, I throw on, my Heartsteel Athame, I breed a pet with double resist, triple damage, and I just breeze through everything. I have YouTube on my side monitor. I'm like not even paying attention to anything, but to actually sit down and focus on the game and the story and the lore and really appreciate everything, like it was such a different experience. If you are somebody that has played Wizard101 for a while or find yourself falling out of love with this game, I highly recommend that you honestly commit to doing a sort of similar challenge where you're entirely bare bones, you're not using the things that you normally would to help you, and see how far you can get it. Things that you normally would, you know, perceive to be easy or things that never gave you a struggle before suddenly become a real hard challenge. And it was awesome to be challenged and experience the game in a way that I hadn't before at all. Throughout this challenge, I was timing myself on my phone, and I kept track of like some very important stats on my phone. You can literally see, even if you can't read it, but this is every little thing I did in the game, and I would write down all of the things I did. So, as you know, this was ultimately supposed to be a speedrun challenge. And I timed myself, and I would mention it here and there of how long this world took, how long the side quest here took. So now it's time for the Arc 1 stats section. In its totality, all of Arc 1, if you just want to count Wizard City, Krokotopia, Marleybone, Mushu, and Dragonspyre, took me 32 hours, 49 minutes, and 42 seconds to complete. Now, that is a rough estimate. I was not always diligent with my timer. Sometimes, you know, I would include me doing a spell quest, and other recording sessions I didn't include that, or like trips to the bazaar, like things like that. It's very much all over the place, but I think generally that is a very good barometer as to how long that took me. So again, that is all of the main worlds of Wizard101, including their side quests. Now, because I know a lot of you will be curious about it, if you wanted to add the time it took me to do Pigswick Academy, that would be an extra 2 hours on the dot, so that would turn into 34 hours. The time it took me to complete Mount Olympus and Kembelung Village were included in the time it took me to do Mushu, and those in its entirety took me an extra hour. So that was also included into that tally when I was adding up all of the times. Now, if you're here from my first video, or, you know, you're a fan of the series, you would know that in my first video, I was kind of struggling to determine whether this was a Nuzlocke, a challenge, a no death challenge, all this stuff. I ended up settling for the fact that this was just going to be a challenge for me to see how far I could make it and how quickly I could make it going through the worlds as a solo balanced character. But as you may have known, that doesn't come without its failures. In total, throughout this run, I had died 6 times. Once in Wizard City to the mobs in Sunken City, twice in Krokotopia to the Fire Narimi warriors, twice in the dungeons of Mount Olympus and Kembelung Village because I said I was going to give them an honest try, and then those were the deaths. And then 1 death in Wisteria to Chester Drawers when I fought him in his classroom. If you don't want to include the mandatory deaths of the side dungeons, that would still come out to 4 total deaths it took me for what I did in Wizard101. So again, once in Wizard City, twice in Krokotopia, and then once more in Wisteria. Yeah, that's about all I have for you guys this video. This has been an incredible finale of Arc 1. If you've been enjoying this series and you know you would like to see more content of mine, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You already know the drill. If this is the first video of mine you're clicking on, again, there is a playlist I have created. You can go back and watch through all of this series. We have now accrued up to, it's what, like 3+ hours of this series. So definitely some bingeability there if you are the type to enjoy doing that. Thank you all so much for tuning into this. Stay tuned for, there's going to be a few follow-up videos I have now that I've completed Arc 1 that are like brewing in my little skull. So stay tuned for those follow-up videos, and also for when we inevitably start Arc 2 with Celestia. I hope you all have enjoyed. Thanks for tuning into my video today, and I hope to see you around. Bye-bye.